thanks to Toastmasters in Lake Havasu City for arranging this time for you and I to spend a few moments together. And special thanks to Desert Star Ballroom for allowing us to use this wonderful facility to present together. This evening, I want to share with you 3 key secrets to public speaking. Those 3 secrets, if you will learn them and retain them, will help you wherever you are in the speaking world. No matter where you are, whether you're at the very beginning or whether you think you're there. I can tell you that even the world champions don't think they're there. They think there's still a lot to learn, and I certainly know that I have a lot to learn. And I hope that you will join with me in knowing that no matter how far you go in public speaking, there's still much to learn. Let's start with a very basic principle. But first, follow me back in time. When I was just a small boy, about 7 years old. My mother worked for a living, and I was one of the first kids, before it was popular, to have one family member working in the family. Just mom and I. She had to work on a particular Saturday, and she sent me to spend the day with some country kids. Now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but for some reason or other, they tend to grow the country kids a little bigger. I know it's kind of hard to tell by looking at me now, but when I was 7 years old, I was kind of short. And the biggest kid was 12, and he was almost twice my height. His name was Earl. Earl decided it would be a great idea if we all took a bicycle. I had one small problem with that. I didn't know how to ride a bike. But Earl, hey, no problem. What we're going to do is we're going to put you up on the bike. There's a hill out back. And we're going to give you a little push. And you're going to go right on down that hill. And you're going to level out at the bottom, and everything's going to be perfect. You will learn to ride a bike in about 10 minutes. It's easy. Never take the word of a country kid. Earl put me up on the seat, and I noticed I had one other problem. My feet wouldn't touch the pedals. He said, no problem, you don't need to pedal. You just hold on. You'll go down the hill. Everything's going to be fine. He gave me a push, and down the hill I started. I was kind of like this, and all of a sudden, bang! Oh, scraped up a knee, banged up an elbow. I was about ready to cry. Earl's big hands, he reached down, he grabbed me. He picked me up, he put me back on the bicycle, and he said, get back on the bike. Then he pulled me up to the top of the hill and pushed me again. I went on down to try to hold on, and all of a sudden, whang! On the other knee and on the other elbow. Banged it up. Earl reaches down again, picks me back up, puts me back on the seat, pulls me back up to the top of the hill. Gives me another push. Oh, boy. I didn't want to be on this bicycle, and it wasn't pretty, but I made it down to the bottom of the hill. And when I got there, I was starting to feel pretty good about myself. Hey, I rode the bicycle. Until the front tire hit a curve. And I went head over heels into the sticker bush. But as I was trying to get up, I noticed these big hands reaching down. And he pulled me towards himself, and he said, I knew you could do it. I knew you could ride that bike. All you had to do was get back on the bike. Well, that may not seem like much to you, but I learned a very important lesson that day. Don't play with country kids. No, seriously, the lesson that I learned was very simple. Whatever you do in life, when you start doing it, you may not be real solid. You may even take a stumble and skin your metaphorical knee or your elbow. But unless you get back on the bike, unless you go on down the hill, you're not going to be successful. The first 3 secrets of public speaking lay in one simple principle, and that is called preparation. Prepare. If you don't get anything else out of this presentation today, remember this one thing that I'm about to tell you. This is the one time I'll ask you that if you're going to take notes, this is the thing to write down because I don't want you to forget it. That's this. Everything in public speaking is about the audience. That's right. It's not about the speaker. It's about the audience. And when you get that, when that becomes a part of who you are, everything changes. Because now it's not important how good you are. What's important is how good is the information, how good is the material that you're giving to your audience. Unless you're a celebrity, the chances are they didn't come to see you. The chances are they came to hear the information that you were there for. And when you do that, you know that since it's all about the audience wants you to be successful. Raise your hand if you left your home tonight going, I sure hope that speaker tonight stinks. Wouldn't it be great if that guy was terrible? No, of course not. You want him to be good. Why would you want to waste your time on somebody that wasn't? So they want you to be successful. The audience wants you to be that. So honor that. And you honor it by preparing. Have you ever watched a speech for somebody who didn't prepare? Have you ever given one? You know, and I know, that when that happens, the people who are there listening to that speech are disconnected. Because somebody's just going through the motions. They're flying by the seat of their pants, and oftentimes they crash and fall. Prepare. Secret number one. Prepare. Everything in public speaking starts with that. There's a second important secret. And to share that one with you, I'd like to take you to a little different time in my life. I had been spending the last 2 years, 6th and 7th grade, mastering the art of playing the trombone. Oh, I thought I was getting good. Ever been there? Ever played an instrument? Come on. Everybody ever seen an instrument? I wonder sometimes. It was my freshman year, and they put me down in third chair, third trombone. That means I was as far down the hill as you can get. Way up there somewhere was the first chair for the trombone, and my goal was that someday before I left high school, I would make it to that chair. Now, the way it worked in those days is you had to challenge your way up. In other words, you went into a back room, and you played the same piece of music as the next person did. And if the music director thought the person who was best, that person moved up the chair. If you went better, you didn't go anywhere. I practiced. What was the first thing I said we should do? Prepare, right? So I practiced. And finally, my sophomore year, a little bit higher. Junior year, a little bit higher. My senior year, I had finally made it. There I was. First chair, first trombone. And it was the night of the concert. I was so excited. Now, first chair, got to play a solo. And my solo was a fantastic flurry of fast 30-second notes on the trombone slide all over the place on that thing. I was ready. I had practiced and practiced and practiced, and I had that thing so oiled, so well fit, that it would just slide. Moment comes. The conductor raises his arm. I stand up with my trombone, and I go into my solo, and right off the end of the slide comes the trombone slide. Bang! It hits the third level. Third level. We have saxophones. We have clarinets. Second level. We have piccolos. First level. The very astonished music director. Bang! It hits the very bottom level. And all the sound coming out of my horn at that point was... Oh, excited about my playing that night. But I had prepared. I had practiced. So what happened? What happened was I got too carried away with who I thought I was. Ever seen a speaker do that? That's not pretty either, is it? When you get too carried away with ego, we lose track of what's important. Because what was the number one thing we talked about being important? Not the speaker, but the audience. They've given you their time. And when that speaker loses track of that, things can get a little slippery and slide right out of your wrist. So first, we prepare. Second, we practice. Practice. And what does that mean in public speaking? That means you get in every possible speaking situation you can get. If somebody says, would you like to give a speech at the next wedding? You raise your hand. Would you like to speak at the next funeral? Sure, I didn't know the guy, but I'll be happy to. Would you like to speak at the opening of the bakery? Looking forward to those donuts. Whatever it is, you speak and speak and speak and speak because it's practice. Now, I want to share a secret with you. Speaking does not mean practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. So improper practice makes it permanently imperfect. Make sure you understand the skills involved before you spend a lot of time practicing the wrong thing. You don't know what you don't know. Everybody agree with that? I didn't know what I didn't know about speaking. And the reason I wanted to learn is I wanted to someday be able to get in front of a group of people and not look like a complete idiot. Only a total idiot. Well, a partial idiot's okay, but not a complete idiot. So I studied. You may not know the name Darren McCroy. He was one of the world champions in public speaking. You may not know the name Craig Valentine, but he stood in front of a room of 2,300 people. After 1 out of 3,600 people started competing, he took the world championship in public speaking also. You may not know the name Patricia Fripp. Patricia Fripp is a world-class coach for CEOs. These are the kind of people that I wanted to study. Why? Because they knew what I didn't know. What you need to do in practice is find some way, somebody that knows what you don't know, and then take advantage of that. There's a third secret, and I see by the clock that I have to hurry. That secret involves you've already prepared, you've already practiced, and now it's time to perform. Let me give you a very brief story from one more time in my life. I was in the United States Navy. Raise your hand if you are a veteran of any force, Navy, Army. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for your service. Give them a hand. That's great. I was aboard the United States ship Denver. We were stationed in Long Beach, California, but the ship was actually in San Diego. We had a weekend off. My friends and I went home for the weekend to be with our girlfriend. Imagine that. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning, and we were supposed to be back on the ship by 8. We left Long Beach, California, and started driving towards San Diego. Everybody but me, I was the one driving, was sound asleep in about 30 minutes. Now, I don't know if you've ever driven I-5 between Long Beach and San Diego, but not much happened at 5 o'clock in the morning. And as I was driving, I noticed my eyes started to close. I tried slapping myself. I tried rolling down the window. I tried singing to myself. I tried everything I could think of, but the eyes kept wanting to close. Sooner or later, they did strip closed for just a woman, and when they did, the left tire hit the gravel on the side of the freeway. And the car did a 360. Right in the middle of the road. Whoa! Screech! Cars booming by. Beep, 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 beep. Everybody was awake now. Didn't have anybody fall asleep on the rest of that trip. What happened? They were all sleeping a minute ago. Something happened to grab their attention. Fear. Performance is about mastering fear. Performance in public speaking is about knowing what you're doing and looking for the proper procedures to do it. So prepare. Practice.